The first episode opens with Daryl, an assistant of the 4 demon generals, being fired by Bashbarza, one of the demon generals. With nowhere to stay, Daryl wanders into the forest in search of food and shelter, and comes across a girl named Malika who's being pursued by a monster. Using his skills to kill the beast and save the girl, he receives an invitation to her village. Malika introduced her parents, who treated him with food. At night, Malika thanked Daryl once again for his assistance before going to bed. You know what I mean? Just joking. The following day, he learns that Malika's father is the village's guild master and the mayor. He allowed Daryl to join his guild, where he saw his first encounter with human magic and discovered that he is a human by birth. Then Malika's father begins to teach him about his aura and the abilities he can develop with it. He explains that there are 4 different types of aura: slash, sting, hit, and shield. Soon, Daryl discovers that his aura is capable of all 4 abilities, and that it is a perfect aura. Malika's father claims that it would be self-indulgent of him to allow him to live in this small guild because there are many large guilds out there. But Daryl decides to stay in this village for the foreseeable future. At the guild, he meets a youngster by the name of Gashida, who is careless in carrying out the guild's objective. He assumes the task of capturing a huge ant and assigns Daryl the task of gathering herbs. Malika also makes the decision to travel with Daryl. While gathering herbs, he learns about the various types of plants. En route, they also come across a deer and a giant ant. Once they arrive in the village, he is informed by the guild master that Gashida was given the task of capturing a giant snake named Blade Deathscythe, a C-rank monster, and that the other guild was in charge of doing so. Malika insisted on accompanying Daryl, as he decided to take up the mission to bring Gashida back. Daryl leaves the village and enters the forest, where he finds a giant snake track. While searching, he notices that Gashida is being pursued by the giant snake. Daryl uses his combo technique to defeat the Blade Deathscythe. After finding that the snake injured Gashida, he gave him the antidote and brought him back to the village. Gashida is impressed on seeing how well-skilled, powerful, and brave Daryl is. The next evening, Daryl queries the mayor as to why there are so many vacant homes. The demon has currently taken control of the mine, which has resulted in the village's demise. The mayor informs him, and there is a mithril mine nearby. Mithril is a rock that increases the strength of the weapon. Later that evening, Daryl makes the decision to go back to the mine where he used to work when he was a member of the demon army. The next day, Daryl sneaked into the mine and discovered that the knocker was being used to manufacture 4 times as much mithril. The knocker knew Daryl and pleads for assistance, but the administrator shows up. Daryl overcomes the administrator and his soldier by himself after a struggle. After overcoming them, he returns to the hamlet and reports what occurred while pleading with the mayor to spare the knockers any damage. Meanwhile, the Demon King contacts Bashbarza and berates him for his limitations after learning that all the key mithril mines have been taken back by humans. The Demon King then brings up Daryl, which infuriates Bashbarza even more. Then it is informed that a rank adventurer came to the village. Upon hearing that Daryl defeated and captured the mithril mine all by himself, the adventurer looks down on Daryl as he was a D-rank adventurer. But when the adventurer heard that he defeated Blade Deathscythe all by himself, everybody gets shocked and praises him. Then Rizit, who is on the other side, arrives to bring back the knockers, but Daryl becomes involved with them and ends up meeting him. He tells him everything, including the fact that he is a human and that he supports both the human and the demon side. Together, they devise a plan to bargain with the official from Camwell and convince them that it would be in the humans' best interest to sell the mithril for 4 times what it was worth. Rizit agrees. Meanwhile, Bashbarza's father, sends him to inquire about Daryl after learning from several subordinates that the generals had expelled him from the demon army. Grand Barza praises Daryl for being a good man who worked hard and was capable, and Bash Barza receives punishment for kicking him out. The directive to bring Daryl back to the Demon Academy enrages Bash Barza. Malika accepts Daryl's marriage proposal after hearing it from the other side. They soon get married, and Malika gives birth to a kid. The day after, he became anxious when he learned that the hero was visiting Hamlet the following day, as his family would be in danger if the hero saw him. He is relieved and introduces his community and family to everyone after learning that the blonde-haired girl is his apprentice. Next, they proceed to the mithril smith of the town, where they have the battle to choose the fourth member of their warrior team. Soon, we see the combat between the hero and Daryl, but unfortunately, Daryl utilizes an antiquated fighting method called Sky Rend, which puts him under suspicion. Days later, Rizet enters Daryl's home unaware that the Wind General, Lady Zebiance, is following him. As soon as Rizet enters the home, Lady Zebiance makes her presence known, shocking Daryl because he was not expecting it. Shortly after, Malika arrives on the scene. Upon learning that Lady Zebiance was threatening her husband, she became enraged at her and gave her deadly looks that scared Lady Zebiance away. Lady Zebiance challenges Daryl to a battle outside the house, which Daryl easily wins without exerting much effort. She then charges with one of her powerful spells, the Geostorm, but Daryl's spell easily defeats it. Finally, Daryl offers to sell her mithril from the mine, and she accepts the offer. After he returns to Hamlet, he recalls that the hero party would soon come and that it would be disastrous if they encountered a demon general. Nevertheless, the hero eventually encounters the general while she is taking a bath in order to prevent them from fighting. Daryl enters the bathroom. He unintentionally grabs their melon, but they ultimately settle on a duel. The following day, they engage in a duel in which their abilities are equal. Upon spotting the two melons, Daryl's son becomes delighted and reaches out to them, but an enormous boulder suddenly splits and threatens to crush him, but the Wind General casts a spell to save him. The following day, Daryl is visited by the famous hero master Alancel, who has heard that her apprentice is causing problems for him. Daryl fears that if he discovers Lady Zebiance's presence, it will cause serious difficulty, but it is discovered that if she doesn't use any magic, he won't be able to feel her presence. Alancel challenged his pupil to a duel to demonstrate her growing strength. The battle began and Alancel was so powerful that he engaged her in combat while signing autographs for young fans. He complimented her on her better swordplay and inquired as to who had trained her. He challenges Daryl to a battle after learning that he was the one who educated her, but Daryl delays it by insisting that they should first eat though. Alancel noticed Lady Zebiance while he was eating, so he hurled his spear, making it impossible for her to flee. In a fit of wrath, Alancel sets out to find her and murder her. Zebiance is attacked by Alancel, and Daryl rushes to save him, but he fails terribly since Alancel is more stronger than him. As Alancel casts fearsome Emperor Sky Render, one of his most potent spells, Daryl copies him and casts the identical spell, but is beaten by Alancel. He is questioned as to why he is protecting a demon, to which he responds that he is on both sides and will prevent any harm from occurring in order to bring about global peace. Moreover, he reveals that the demon reared him from infancy, and that Lord Grand Barza adopted him after discovering him under the tree. At the same time, Grand Barza also learns from the demon lord that Daryl was the son of the fabled hero Alancel. Daryl revealed to Alantis that he had been given to Lord Grand Barza 33 years prior, and Alantis then held him firmly when Alancel verified that Daryl was his son. Daryl was astonished and confused when he learned this. Lord Grand Barza appeared unexpectedly on the scene. Grand Barza claims that Daryl was concerned that he was a human when he was just 5 years old and unable to utilize magic. Grand Barza was looked after by Daryl and acknowledged for assisting him in achieving his current goals. Grand Barza responded by saying that having someone as valuable as him was one of the reasons he was thankful to have strength. He gives him a bare embrace. Atlantis becomes enraged at hearing all of this because he has not been able to spend time with his kid for such a long time, and it was supposed to be his time to take care of him. He attempts to assault Grand Barza, but Malika intervenes and stops them by introducing Grand to them. Upon learning that the child is both their grandfather and his grandchild, they immediately stop fighting. Happiness briefly spread among the family as they all come to an understanding and forgive Grand Barza. They thanked for taking care of Daryl for such a long time. The joy, however, was short-lived when word that the mithril mine was under assault was given. When they approached the mine, Daryl, Grand Barzo, Alancil, and the hero party discovered that Salamandra, a magical beast, had set the whole mine on fire. Everyone tried to attack but failed until Alancil and Daryl fired their Emperor's Sky Rend, which worked on it but still could not slay it. They soon become aware of the dragon's vile aura. Daryl observed the dragon closely but it fled. The knockers and mine workers were saved by the Daryl and others. But several of the employees were still trapped within the mine, so he chooses to go inside. He encounters the Gigantomachia, the planet Earth's magical beast, inside the mine. At first, he assumes it was Daryl's fault that his old companion Salamandra attacked him, but Daryl clarifies the situation and displays the mithril blade he was carrying. The magical beast enhances his weapon after being moved by the beauty of the sword. The beast also warns him that Lux Town will serve as the site of the next fight. Upon his return from the mine, Daryl orders everyone to leave the settlement. Grand Barza, who believes Bash Barza to be the mastermind, has since returned to the land of the demons. He challenges Bash Barza and discovers that he entered the secret room and obtained the power of hexes, which is the ability to manipulate a magical beast that is capable of bringing calamity. Bash Barza intends to burn down his village and assassinate all of Daryl's close friends, as well as the hero, and him out of resentment for Daryl. Bash Barza arrives at the Lux village and the battle starts. Bash Barza uses his hex power to control a Salamandra and strikes them. The hero party, Zebiantus, Alancil, and Grand Barza aids in the struggle against Salamandra, and Daryl engages Bash Barza in combat. Bash Barza evolves in a vain attempt to beat Daryl, strengthening both his physical and magical abilities. They each charge a special attack at each other, but Bash Barza did not take much damage and instead evolved once more out of rage. Daryl attempts to explain things to him again, but to no avail. Daniel unexpectedly enters Bash Barza's memory, where he discovers that although Bash Barza was compelled to be away from Grand Barza, Daryl was standing next to him. They enroll him in the magical school, where he worked tirelessly to achieve outstanding grades so he could live with his father. But, after spotting Daryl with Grand Barza, his jealousy overcame him. Daryl awakens from his recollection and discovers that Bash Barza was alone the entire time. He tells him that he has been supporting him as a brother since the beginning and will do so for as long as he can. Bash Barza is also aware that things may have turned out differently if he had not been so obstinate. He takes it back to its previous state. Bash Barza recognizes that Salamandra, the magical beast, is becoming out of control and joins its body to Salamandra to create a body fusion hex so that he may temporarily take control of the rhythms. Grand Barza accepts the curse and destroys the Bash Barza seal, rendering the Salamandra vulnerable to assault from Daryl, who then dispatches the magical beast. When Bash Barza returns to the Demon Palace, the Demon King exiles him from his realm. After that, Daryl and Grand Barza allow him to live with them in the Lux village. I hope you love the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for joining me. I will see you in the next video.